Yes, I'm ready. I'm so ready for this. Ooh, it tickles.
It tickles.
Ha! There you go. Thank you.
How the hell did I end up in this corner of the internet again? Oh, hey there, changing subjects. Have you noticed how game requirements have always been absurd? No, of course you have, but did you realize that graphics are no longer cutting it? It's been a long time since you bought a computer, and by the next day it was already obsolete, as games went from this to this, in a series of snaps. If back then the choice was burning your money on a new computer to play a new game, burning your house trying to play it on your old one, or not playing it, today this dude will tell you to spend 2,000 to see slightly prettier 4K reflections on a puddle you weren't even going to look at, on a game you can already play. This doesn't cut it, so developers are trying new ways to screw us. And today I'll present you a game by Hazelight Studios called It Takes Two, the game with the most absurd requirements of them all, which are to get a wife, a real one, or a husband, but those are easier to get. Then you have to bring your relationship to the brink of divorce, and at this point convince them to play the game. Of course, you could also play it with a friend as long as you dim the lights and roleplay. I respect your choices. Welcome to the couch, where we talk about those games you can play on the best way possible, with someone else, in the same room, and on the same device. Well, today, only today, for the small price of a like and a subscribe, I'll guarantee that this year you're going to have a great relationship. Conditions apply. The best way to define It Takes Two is to call it a 10 to 15 hour long Pixar movie made for adults that has been taking notes from the best platformers, sometimes smelling a lot like Rayman, other times like Crash, and others like Super Mario or Donkey Kong. But don't let its cutesy aspect and innocent style deceive you into believing it can be a viable gateway into gaming for your non-gaming waifu or husbando. This is a trap, and I'll tell you why in a second, but before that, let me give you a bit of context. We play as Cody and May, a bitter couple where he stays at home pretending to be useful.
This is Cody. You know, the guy who suck up all kinds of crap in your stomach.
Oh, no, that's
That's you?
And she spends her day working overtime as an engineer while the relationship dies.
She is never at home.
Excuse me? I'm working for both of us. I can't be in two places at the same time, can I?
And I already see someone grumbling about role reversal while smashing double V for woke. Well, this time I'll hit you back with a double V for wrong. This is a game from Sweden, where house husbands are not that rare. Just ask anybody from their surrounding countries and you'll get a free 7-hour alcohol-induced thesis about Swedish masculinity. Hell, they even made actual thesis about it. But I call that jealousy. Just think about it. Not only they married a Swedish girl, some of them even convince her to work while they stay at home on a country where they can afford to have a robot doing most house chores. It's certainly making me rethink my life choices. Still, I digress. Cody and May are done with each other.
Mum and Dad, we've decided to go our separate ways.
But the daughter ain't happy, thus she decides to take matters into her own hands by doing some voodoo. But being a child, she can't afford one of those fancy leather-bound Necronomicons, so she has to make do with a book of love she found on the trash, written by Dr. Hakim. Suddenly we'll find ourselves embodying a couple of toys and harassed by a Latino book.
What?
Let us go.
This is abduction!
No, this is Dr. Hakim's couples therapy. Prepare for the roller coaster ride of your life.
Whose split chin is located at a distracting area, who will impose couples therapy on us. Therapy in the shape of having to battle fascist squirrels,
Shoot them all.
wasps, and all sorts of toys with the goal of making the daughter cry as revenge because good parenting is overrated.
Come on, let it out!
Sweet tears. That's right. Woo!
Am I taking the piss? Well, yeah, kind of, because spoiling it would be a disservice in my opinion. Let's just say the whole thing is highly comedic, sometimes dark, and here and there will slap in your fifis like most animation movies do. And as it happens in Pixar movies, you shouldn't expect a deep story, but a simple one with great characters that can be pretty relatable, whose personalities will show on how they move and interact with their world. What I can do is define its gameplay. Kind of. In general, expect to have 3D platformer controls that will make you think the protagonists have some Italian ancestry.
You asked for it.
But then it becomes a side-scroller, or a rhythm game, or a driving game, or an action RPG, or a flying game, or a combat game, or a skiing, you get it. What this game is the best at is at pulling the rug out of your feet. You are going to be changing gameplay style, mechanics, and environments so often that after the first hour you'll be shaking your head while thinking they cannot possibly keep this pace for the whole game. Well, they certainly can, and they certainly did. The game doesn't take its own name lightly. They are going to push the word
Collaboration!
into your brain, because this is not a single player game where they added a token co-op mode. Here, every player is one half of each puzzle, and those parts are most of the time so different you'll probably want to give the game another go as the other character. But forget about playing solo unless you're very good at using a second controller with your feet, in which case I predict you'd have a great future as a streamer for people with peculiar sensibilities. The whole game is a cinematic piece that proves, yet again, how style always trumps graphics. The amount of care for detail, interactive stuff and minigames is almost insultingly good, and certainly gets my chef's kiss. All accompanied with a great soundtrack and some of the best voice acting I've heard in a long time. Not to forget those bosses that would make Crash jealous. It almost feels like a vengeance after decades and decades of trashy games based on animation movies. And you can see how the director not only had work on Brothers and A Way Out, but also directed a bunch of movies before making this game, as every scene flows almost seamlessly. Is everything good though? Well, almost. If I had to nitpick, I'd say you can change sides. Cody will always be on the right and May on the left, so you'll want to sit on the side your character is at, unless one of you is extremely territorial with their side of the sofa, in which case, I feel you. The biggest issue though is their publisher.
EA bullshit. It's in the game.
A quick check to the negative reviews shows how of the first 20, 19 are about the EA launcher and 1 about being lonely. To you, my guy, I hope things get better. And for the rest, yes, this is one of those games you buy to support a developer and then play a pirated copy to have a better experience. All in all, it's not a 10 out of 10, but it is one of those games that does everything at least fine, and most things great. But I told you it flows, right? Well, it does. Until you get to a section where the other player struggles. For me, that was the plane section where I spent 20 minutes watching this.
Hey! You see? Never underestimate my underwear!
And here, I discovered that this game is not a gateway game. It is designed to look and feel like one. But do not be deceived, it is actually a Swedish weapon of couples destruction. For starters, the game is a big couples therapy session with explosions, which as a licensed psychologist I can tell you, it's exactly what happens, as long as you have the budget and sign a liability. Soon you'll see that the problems Cody and May have are designed to be #relatable. Yes, so relatable that you'll notice how your partner starts glancing at you, raising their eyebrow and finally elbowing you while saying, "See?" as things escalate. Not only that, they coded difficulty, so those of us who have gamed for years will find it generally easy, while those who are new at gaming will die. A lot. And they know that gamers are forced in the most toxic online environments, where empathy is a weakness and compassion a foreign concept. So we have coded in our genes to jump at mistakes like hungry vultures. But a non-gamer is not trained to deal with a raging man-child or woman-child, because they haven't dealt with hordes of 10-year-olds telling how they'll screw with their mothers. So let me give you some necessary advice to game with a normal human being. First, do not take their controller to do whatever difficult part yourself, unless you want to see how they put said controller in the couch and tell you to sleep with it for a week. Here, patience is part of the difficulty, so get good. Second, you need to create code with your usual rants. For example, instead of "you play like a filthy peasant," say "playing with you is really pleasant." That way, your relationship won't become a
Relation shit, as in shit like caca.
while you are still secretly ranting. And if they ever watch this video, just tell me. I'll personally assure them you were never here. You are welcome. Still, once you're done with the game, you'll see the last reason why this is a fake gateway, as they'll say something on the lines of "this was fun, we can play other games like it." No, they are still not ready to answer properly when you scream.
Rockin' stove!
And no, I don't know of other games like this one. This one's special. And if you do, please, tell me in the comments. Well, tell me anything.
The algorithms are hungry.
I'll answer. Meanwhile, I'll go and take a shower, as I feel a bit dirty recommending so much a game published by Electronic Arts. But hell, give it a go, it's a good one, and everything I said about not being a good gateway is probably bullshit. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you on the next one. Ciao ciao!
What are you doing?
You don't like it?
No.